Hi, my name is Tyler Fernandez. Today we are going to talk about how organizations deal with ethical dilemmas. As future managers and CEOs, it is important to understand that each decision you make represents your company's mission and can affect the overall vision of the organization, for better or for worse. Anyone can make easy decisions, but many times there are trade-offs to be considered and people who will be hurt.
I'm going to start off with a pretty well-known case study that involves Malden Mills, a very successful textile company in the 90s and early 2000s. In 1995, a boiler inside their factory in Massachusetts exploded, causing a fire that burned down 3 buildings just 2 weeks before Christmas. This fire put 3,000 union workers out of jobs, and the CEO, Aaron Feuerstein, was staring at a major decision. Just 2 days after, Feuerstein announced that he was going to pay his workers 90 days full pay, and they were going to keep all of their benefits for 180 days. This decision heavily impacted their company and ended up costing $25 million.
Some would say this is crazy, but when Feuerstein was asked about it on 60 Minutes, he said, "I think it was a wise business decision, but that isn't why I did it. I did it because it was the right thing to do." Feuerstein's decision did turn out to be a wise one. With increased commitment to its employees, productivity skyrocketed post-fire from 130,000 to 200,000 yards per week. Business grew 40% from pre-fire levels, and customer and employee retention reached an all-time high of 95%.
Now let's look at how CEOs and companies make these tough decisions. Sometimes it comes down to the core beliefs of the business and what their priorities are. The triple bottom line helps measure an organization's social, environmental, and financial performance. Companies can choose to focus on one of these factors more than others. For example, if Feuerstein put profit before people, he might not have made the same decision. He could have chosen to rebuild his manufacturing plant and collect the fire insurance. He also could have moved his company outside of the US where labor is cheaper. But instead, Feuerstein decided to build his company back in Massachusetts where previous generations of his family had it.
To continue, there are also 4 approaches to ethical decisions that every manager or CEO must consider. The first is the utilitarian approach, which is guided by whatever will create the greatest good for the greatest number of people. Some managers think financial performance is the best definition of the greatest good for the greatest number of people, but it is really up for you to decide. When using the individual approach, managers think about what will result in his or her own long-term interests, which in turn are in everyone's best self-interest. The moral rights approach makes decisions guided by respect for the moral and legal rights of human beings. Here, though, the situation can get a bit sticky. What is moral exactly? And lastly, the justice approach looks to make decisions guided by respect for impartial standards of fairness and equality. Though what is fair will never be able to be agreed upon by all employees and managers.
The Malden Mills case is just one of many examples where a CEO had to make an extremely tough decision. In this case, Feuerstein chose to put the people in his organization first and used moral rights to guide his decision. Eventually, all of us will be faced with some sort of managerial decision. How will you handle it?